On May 24th this year, which seems like a lifetime ago now, a writer named Sam Anderson wrote a piece for the New York Times Sunday magazine. It was called The Truth About Cocoons, and here are a few excerpts. Every child knows about cocoons. They're one of the first things we learn about the natural world. They introduce us to the wonder of metamorphosis. A little blobby squirmy thing disappears into a sack and emerges as a flamboyant, colorful, flappy thing. Magic. In fact, he says, that's exactly how we tend to learn about it, as one of nature's great magic tricks, if not inexplicable, then largely unexplained. The emphasis always seems to be on the before and the after, not the during. The author goes on to say, lately I have found myself wondering, as I sit here hunched inside my dark house, about the part that tends to be skipped, the confinement, the waiting, the darkness, the change. He then describes exactly what does happen to the caterpillar, and it is not pretty. I'll spare you many of the details, except to say what a caterpillar is doing in its self-imposed quarantine is, quote, using its enzymes to reduce itself into a nearly formless sludge. But then, something called imaginal discs emerge, growing exponentially, taking form into eyes, wings, and so on. That's how you get a butterfly, Sam Anderson writes, out of the horrid meltdown of a modest caterpillar. We humans may not go something quite so dramatic, but take a look at a picture of yourself as a child, and then look in the mirror, and you can begin to behold that we too undergo profound transformation throughout our lives. Much like the caterpillar, though perhaps more gradually, our bodies go through a complete renovation. And if we're lucky, it seems to me, our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world may go through something of a transformation too. Just as the caterpillar went through what could be called an extreme home makeover in its cocoon, we too may be undergoing renovations at this time of transformation, spurred along by the COVID-19 pandemic, no doubt, but encouraged too by our own willingness to grow. In our ongoing quest for spiritual and personal growth, we can trust that this strange time, as disorienting and challenging as it may be, can contribute to our unfolding, to our becoming. This month in our journey groups, we've been thinking about the theme of home. As we know, home can refer not only to a physical place, but also to a state of mind or a sense of oneself. All of these things may have been going through dramatic change in the past 7 months. As anyone who's been through one can tell you, renovation is not easy. So what's being changed in and around us right now? Well, to start with, how about this congregation? We're continuing to adjust to a new and indefinite form of home, not only as we worship online, which still seems completely foreign, let's be honest, but as we wonder where we might land in physical space in the months and years ahead. This situation all by itself can bring up feelings of grief, disorientation, sadness, anxiety, and irritation. It can lead sometimes to an urge to criticize, to fix or change things, perhaps to try and exert some measure of control over much that is beyond our control. And what else has been revamped? Well, perhaps your way of working, your pattern of life, your sense of security or your expectations at this time. Just a few small alterations there. As well, your social circles have likely changed, your amount of contact with friends or family. Even your relationship with yourself may be undergoing significant change as you spend more time at home. As well, some people may be going through the pain of separation or divorce at this time. Some may be going through a physical move to a new home or apartment. Some may be challenged by the loss of a job. And of course, there are the very difficult transitions brought about by serious illness or the loss of a loved one during this time, as at any time. These are all extreme makeovers of the homes we think we know. Homes we thought or perhaps hoped we might stay in for a very long time. Of course, major transitions like these happen at every stage of life, sometimes on purpose, and at other times completely without warning. While some of them may also carry feelings of excitement or anticipation, they may also bring experiences of deep sadness, anxiety, or deep fatigue. As difficult as these experiences can be, they often lead to a new stage of life or growth that is ultimately for the good. Elizabeth Lesser is a spiritual writer who wrote a very good book called Broken Open: How Difficult Times Can Help Us Grow. In the very first paragraph of the book, she writes, "How strange that the nature of life is change, yet the nature of human beings is to resist change. And how ironic that the difficult times we fear might ruin us are the very ones that can break us open and help us blossom into who we were meant to be." This is an idea that's returned to again and again in religious thought, that breaking down is necessary for growth and transformation. Of course, it's echoed all around us in nature, especially in this fall of the year, when we revel in the poignant glory of the leaves falling from the trees. Death must happen before rebirth. Emptying must take place before refilling. The small self must fall away in order for the true self to emerge, that which is connected to the essential inner goodness that some call God. The progressive Christian writer Richard Rohr refers to this as falling upward, and he acknowledges that it's a generally unpopular idea. Speaking for myself, I don't like letting go of the familiar, the comfortable, and the easy. If I were a caterpillar, I probably wouldn't choose to go through a dark, oozy, sludgy experience for any reason, even if it meant that eventually I might fly. Yet that is exactly what nature, what life, calls us to do. Life will have its way with us, whether we approve the renovation plans or not. But wisdom teachers do show us how to practice, so we can get through it a little easier. In meditation practice, for example, we learn to sit in the formless ooze of doing nothing, often with a fair bit of discomfort. It's a short experience of what's called dying to self, which can make space for new life. Cynthia Bourgeault writes, "We all have our wants, needs, preferences, opinions, and agendas, some of which are motivated or at least aggravated by fear and by self-importance. Dying to self means willing to let go of what I want or think I want in order to create space for God or life to direct, lead, and guide me to a truer way of being." This is a core concept of so many wisdom teachings. The idea that spiritual growth is a process of subtraction, not addition, and that there is an inherent enoughness, an inherent worth in life itself that is much like the good bones of a house, a solid foundation that can support us through radical change. This is what the poet Carolyn Locke calls impossible light, improbable hope. Hope that springs out of absence, not presence, and out of less, not more. In those rare times when we glimpse what is possible amidst extreme change or loss, what else can you do, she says, but let yourself be broken and emptied? What else is there but waiting in the autumn sun? Carolyn Locke is but one of many, many poets who point to that essence of life that is suggested by language, but that also transcends it, allowing us to enter life's intuitive dimension of wisdom. Here's another poem that does the same thing very eloquently. It's called The Unbroken by Rashani Rhea. There is a brokenness out of which comes the unbroken, a shatteredness out of which blooms the unshatterable. There is a sorrow beyond all grief which leads to joy, and a fragility out of whose depths emerges strength. There is a hollow space too vast for words through which we pass with each loss, out of whose darkness we are sanctioned into being. There is a cry deeper than all sound, whose serrated edges cut the heart as we break open to the place inside, which is unbreakable and whole, while learning to sing. It makes perfect sense to me that someone would see the caterpillar's journey as a metaphor for what we're doing right now. As we enter into a renewed time of distancing and isolation, knowing that the dark months of winter are soon to come, many of us are feeling some trepidation, some trepidation, to put it mildly. Even if we know that change is simply part of life and that growth requires discomfort and loss, we may find ourselves weary, resistant, and more than a bit bewildered by all of it. Sam Anderson writes, "How do we even begin to process all of this? This cataclysm that is happening simultaneously in slow motion and all at once, on distant continents, and inside our own cells. Months in, and remember he was writing this in May, we still have no idea when it will end or what we will all come out looking like. The metamorphoses are happening mostly in private, all over the place, in billions of individual pods, acts of internal self-destruction and rebuilding, subtle shifts, and whole revolutions." How do we begin to process all of this? Good question. And maybe one answer is that we don't have to go through it alone. With all due respect to the more than competent builders and renovators in this community, and there are quite a few, most of us need a little help to do an extreme home makeover. Fortunately, help is available from many corners. Good friends, close family members, people here in this congregation who know how to listen well, including the ministry team and the people on the pastoral care team. People who can bear witness to the changes that you are undergoing and to create safe space for you to reflect on what's happening. Professionals can also be helpful. Psychotherapists, spiritual directors, life coaches, social workers, Jungian analysts, counselors of many kinds. Support groups as well, especially the wide range of 12-step programs which are based on foundational spiritual principles. We can find teachers so many places who can assist us. Browse the spirituality, religion, or self-help section of any library or bookstore, online perhaps, or search for them on YouTube. You will find yourself drawn to the voices that are meant for you right now. They could be teachers from long ago, or they could be contemporary voices. And whether they are Christian, Buddhist, Jewish, Sufi, Jungian, Unitarian, interspiritual, or something else, they are meant for you. They are meant for your support. Of course, we can also find comfort, reassurance, and connection with the sacred through art, music, and poetry, whether it's created by others or by us. All of these companions and more can reassure us that our feelings of discomfort amidst painful change are normal, that we can learn to release our desire to have things go our way as we open ourselves to the transformative embrace of life. Of course, this is a continual practice. It's not something we learn and get once and for all. In the continual process of growth and change, we need to keep doing this internal renovation work. This internal work that will allow us to live with more kindness, softness, grace, and courage. As the poet Mark Nepo writes in a book called The Endless Practice, Becoming Who You Were Born to Be, we are daily at the crossroads, trying to turn our heaviness into light. When faced with uncertainty, we are asked to practice patience. When faced with opportunity, we are asked to practice trust. When faced with a need for courage, we are asked to do small things with love. When faced with disconnection, we are asked to remember how to hold and listen. Just as the caterpillar does not choose to go into its cocoon, we too have been moved inside our houses by factors beyond our control. In the days, weeks, and months to come, may we trust that the transformations we are undergoing are ultimately for our good and for the good of the greater whole. May we find peace in the humble cocoons of our lives. And may we take a few more moments now in quiet contemplation as we are made and remade each moment by the creative power of life.